I think we can all agree that managing the people side of change can be super challenging. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to Marion Stechnicki. Marion is a Pro-Sci certified change practitioner, and she's been helping organizations with change for over 15 years. I'm also delighted because Marion recently joined our team, and I've been working with her now for a few weeks, and I've already learned so much. So I know you'll enjoy this episode where we talk about the keys to successful change over a steaming cup of broth. I love meeting remarkable candidates and placing them into exciting careers. Outside of work, I have a passion for health and nutrition. Having recently discovered the many benefits of homemade bone broth, I thought it'd be fun to share a cup of broth with some amazing people as we chat through career and life advice. I'm Virginia Polly, and this is Recruiter at Home Drinking Broth. Hi, Marion. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here with you, Virginia, and honestly, even more excited to try this amazing broth you sent me. It's my first time trying sipping broth, something new for me. I heated it up and I'm ready to go. It definitely smells amazing.
It's something new for me and you, actually, because I thought, given that we're talking about change today, that this might be a perfect time for me to try a new broth. So instead of my usual chicken broth, I took a risk and prepared a sea vegetable broth for us today. Sea vegetables are really rich in minerals, especially iodine, which I read is really great because it helps support thyroid health. The ingredients in this recipe include fresh green onions, celery, carrots, kelp, dried dulse, and mushrooms. And I dropped all of these ingredients in a stock pot and I cooked it. I simmered it for about 25 minutes. And I also added a bit of miso just to deepen the flavor. So let me know what you think.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh my gosh, I love it. It actually reminds me of sushi and miso soup. I love it.
I'm so glad. Awesome. So, Marion, we're here to talk about change, and you and I have some history together. We first met many years ago at a company called Knowledge Alliance, where we worked as software trainers. The year was 1998, and companies were rushing to upgrade the skills of their workforce, training them on how to use Windows and Microsoft products, and even how to use a mouse. In fact, I remember a training class once where a student was clicking the mouse as if it was a TV remote control. So it sounds pretty funny, but it was a big time of change. So on this topic, talk to us about one of the most overlooked aspects of managing change in an organization.
Okay, well, I thought I'd start with a story, one that I thought some of us could relate to. Let's say you wanted to ditch your cable TV subscription at home and move all of your content to watching online. But you're not the only one in your household. If you decided to make this change without talking to anyone in your household about it, you're likely going to make some enemies. That's because pushback can happen when we don't involve people in the process of deciding what's changing. Maybe you didn't consider the ways that the change actually impacts them specifically. You didn't take the time to get them on side and excited about this change that you're excited about. One of the most overlooked aspects of change is actually taking the time to create a proper plan for the inevitable human elements in change that we're going to bump into and how we can help people really want to change.
Tell me a little bit more on that point about the human element of change.
Companies often spend time defining business reasons for change. They may even create a training strategy and a communications plan. But what they tend to deprioritize is the work behind creating desire in people to actually want to change and work differently. And to be honest, Virginia, they sometimes don't know that they need to do it, how to do it, or why they need to do it. Mm-hmm. And the reason we skip over this work is because it tends to be the biggest and messiest part of change, largely because organizations don't change, individuals do. And it's difficult and takes time to actually consider and plan for the change at an individual level. So, for example, if we were to consider that you, let's say, um, your involvement in developing a tool long ago might stop you from embracing the new tool because you are personally attached to it. And really recognizing, how do you feel about that? You could be key if we could get you on side with this to getting others to really love this new way of working. And how do we get there? How do we get you to love this new product?
How do organizations create the desire and inspire people to work differently?
Well, there's many ways we can do that. I thought we just talk about two today. The first one is to really involve team members who are impacted by the change as early as possible in the change, especially when designing what it looks like. If they see themselves in the solution they help build, even if it negatively impacts them, it can make it easier for them to engage with this new way of working. And then another way is to have a very specific plan on how you want to involve your people managers. For many of us, especially when we're going through change, we look to our direct manager or supervisor as the person for direction, clarification, or support. And if organizations really have a strong coaching plan and are preparing their people managers to coach through this transition to a new way of working, is so important and key as we plan for change, and is generally deprioritized.
What about at the individual level? So you talked a lot about organizational change, but do you have any tips for individuals who are having to go through this change?
Definitely. I think we all need help in this area. Everyone sometimes needs help with desire, doesn't want to change, and old habits die hard,
Mhm.
especially me. You would think as a change practitioner, maybe you're a pro. So not a pro, but there's a couple quick things we can talk about. One that I love is actually using sticky notes. So when I'm going through, especially a technology change, I like to use an old school trick where I'll write on a sticky note a prompt for myself to behave differently. So recently I'm trying to go to Microsoft Teams more than I am Outlook. So I wrote myself a little sticky note that says, go to Teams. I stick it on my monitor. So when I start up in the morning, it's the first thing I see. Another one is around actually planning for the bumps in the road. We all know when we work differently, it's not going to be smooth sailing or smooth driving. So if we can sit down and think in advance what those bumps could look like, we can actually prepare for our response to those bumps. And it can really help you stop from being derailed from change.
Thanks so much, Marion. Super helpful information for both organizations and as individuals as we adapt to change and try new ways of working. As you know, I'm really excited to work with you in these areas as we expand our practice and bring you and your wealth of knowledge to the team. Thank you so much, Marion.
Thanks, Virginia. It was so great to try something new today with the broth and have a chance to share some best practices on change.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.